Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the London Pen Company. This is the Nona 14 in the Jonathan Brooks Bohemian Twighlight. We have a Dragon Slayer. And this is from Krusac. It's the Legend 16 Dragon Slayer. We have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. We have another Montegrappa, but this is a Bartolomeo Ferracina in Shiny Circles. We have a Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaen. We have a Visconti, and this is the Medici Il Magnifico, and this is in the Lapis Lazuli. We have another Visconti Medici Il Magnifico, and this is in the red marble. We have a Visconti Brunelleschi that I haven't used for some time. We have a Visconti Millionaire that I also haven't inked up for some time. And we also have a Visconti Uffizi, which I really haven't inked up for some time. So I decided to add a few more of those into the mix for this week. Now, I have had this inked up in past weeks. This is the beautiful Nona 14 from Sean at the London Pen Company. And I have to say, I really do like this pen a lot. It's a 9-sided pen. It's a faceted pen. In the Jonathan Brooks Bohemian Twighlight material. Sean actually said to me he wanted to send me a Nona 14 for review and asked if there was any material that I would like to see it in. And I had a look on his website. I saw a lot of the current production run pens. I saw a few that were sold out in the Bohemian Twighlight, and I thought actually this looks like a really nice material. It will be interesting to see what this would look like on a faceted pen. And I have to say, Sean has blown me away with this because it really is a beautiful pen. So it is faceted all the way around on the cap and the body. Now this does actually increase the price quite a bit. I think most of Sean's pens are around about the $200 to $250 US. This is $388, I believe. But a lot more work goes into this to create these facets, and I have to say I still think it's actually worth it. It comes with a number 6 size Bock nib. It's got a lovely concave section. It is a cartridge converter pen, so I can show you that here as well. A lot of threads to the body. I'm not actually sure, and I should probably ask Sean or maybe some other custom pen makers why the body threads are actually normally a lot more than the cap threads, because it always seems to be a lot more. It doesn't bother me because I'm not normally taking that body off. I'm only inking the pen up now and then. So, but I always do find that with a lot of custom pen makers that the threads to the body, to the section are a lot more. This is a beautiful pen, and I have to say I am absolutely in awe of this pen. A beautiful pen, and I have that one inked up again this week. Another pen that I am also in awe at is this one. It's a Krusac Legend 16. This, well, when I talk about a 14, for instance, a Nona 14 or a 16 here on the Krusac, that is the millimeters around the diameter of the pen where the threads are. So it's a 14mm thread cut or a 16mm thread cut. Now, so this is actually the largest diameter pen that Ryan currently makes. I say currently because who knows, he might make a larger one. I'm not sure in terms of thread cutting whether or not you can get a 17-18mm thread cutter. I'm sure you probably can, but I do also understand that those thread cutting tools are not that cheap as well. They're quite a lot. Same with the nib cutting tools. This is a beautiful wood cap, and this has dragon scales on it. So far I've had this going on probably 7-8 months, and I'd have to say that the cap is still beautiful. I have seen a few caps though that have got cracks in them over time, so I'm hoping that this doesn't happen. It is wood, so wood can crack, it can expand, it can shrink. The body is a antler material, and Ryan actually draws this dragon and then laser etches it into the body. And you can see that beautiful dragon slayer there. Absolute beautiful pattern. You can also see Ryan's signature there, and also 99 of 150. So this isn't lacquered, it's not polished, it is raw natural antler. So you do have to be a little bit careful. So there are blemishes in this antler. There are areas where it goes off-white, and that is the natural antler. So you do have to be a little bit careful with ink with this. You don't want to get ink all over the body, because that will stain. But this is a number 6 size Yovo nib. It's got an RK logo there, and it also is a cartridge converter as well. So honestly, I am liking cartridge converters more so lately. As much as I do normally have long writing sessions, and I do prefer pens that actually have larger ink capacities, I do find that a cartridge converter pen is just so much more easier to clean and maintain and repair compared to a piston or a power vac filling pen. The next pen I have here inked up is a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove, and I'd have to say that this silver here is actually becoming just a little bit tarnished. And let me just see, I do actually have an anti-tarnishing cloth, so I'm actually going to show you how to remove the tarnish and polish it up. You literally just rub the cloth over, and look at that shine now. And if you look at this cap band here, I just do a little bit here, you can see a huge amount more shine. So if I just wrap that around there and just do this a little bit, and what you should see is that that will actually come up to a nice shine. So you do have to be a little bit careful, because you are going to over time remove layers of silver, but it's not plated, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But actually, let me just show you this pen though. This is the Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. Beautiful pen. It's a stacked celluloid. I love stacked celluloid. My first 4 or 5 pens were from Visconti in the stacked celluloid in the Wall Street style material. I have to say that as much as I love that material, I do like this material more. So I will be on the lookout for some more of these at some point. I would love to see this in the Montegrappa Extra Otto. This is a number 8 size nib from Montegrappa. Montegrappa do recess those nibs quite a way in to the section here. I think it actually goes all the way up to the threads. This is a piston mechanism as well. So it will hold around about 1 to 1.2 milliliters of ink. It's a single thread start, so that pattern will always line up. Have to say, I do like that a lot. Now, the next pen is another stacked celluloid, and this is a Montegrappa, and this is the Bartolomeo Ferracina. And again, this silver is starting to dull a little bit. So if I just rub that polishing cloth, it's just a silver cloth over, you'll see that that gets a lot better. And then if I just wrap this around, you don't really want to be polishing the celluloid, so I am just gripping it there, and I will grip it here as well, and we'll just do that a little bit. And you can see you do need to be a little bit more extra on some of the parts here, but oh, I've got to be careful. Actually, that's a piston knob. I don't want to be squirting ink out everywhere. But you can see there, though, that that has now polished up quite nicely. So you really don't need to do much. You've got a clock face on that pen as well. You can actually remove that if you so wish. So what I could do, if I wanted to, just to get at those edges a little bit more, just around that sort of knob there, the winding. Well, actually, it's not winding arm, but it's actually a what do you call it? It's basically allows you to set the time. But there you go. That's a little bit better there. Now this is again a section here as well, so I can, if I want to, just polish that up just to make sure that it looks a little bit more shiny. And there you have it, much more shiny. Again, a number 8 size Montegrappa nib, very well recessed. This is a really good size in my hand. I can post this cap, very back weighted. I honestly have thought a number of times, actually, I like this celluloid so much. I have seen a few more of these shiny circles in this Bartolomeo Ferracina, and although I don't actually do multiples normally of the same pen color or material, I have actually seriously thought about getting a second one, because I do love the shape and size and weight of that pen, and I do like that material a lot. And I think, honestly, the shiny circles for me looks a lot better than the shiny lines. I think it's because it actually, the stacked celluloid actually works its way round the pen rather than up and down the pen. But that is a beautiful pen, and I have that inked up this week as well. The next pen is Classic Pens LB5, and this is the Kaen. Now, this is made by Salyer for Classic Pens. There were only 50 of these in each of the colours, and you can probably see that there. This is 38 of 50, gold trim, but it is basically a Salyer King of Pen, so you have a Salyer King of Pen nib there, and if I unscrew the body, you'll see the converter there as well, and that converter is almost empty, as you can see. But this is a beautiful pen. I love it to bits. You can post it and post it deeply. It is a beautiful pen. I was lucky to pick this up. It took me, I think, 18, 19, 20, 21, probably 4 to 5 years probably to actually manage to finally pick this one up. Managed to pick it up from a friend who was letting a few go in their collection that they were lucky to have purchased. And have to say that I do love that pen a lot. So I do have that one inked up with me this week as well. It was inked up last week as well, along with the Krusac. I do love the Krusac a lot. I also like the Kaen as well. The next pen here is a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli. Now, this is a Visconti. You can see there the Visconti clip. It is a Lapis Lazuli stone. This is solid silver with a gold vermeil. Beautiful. So when I say vermeil, it's a gold plating over silver. But it's a heavy pen. All of the silver elements on this pen, or the gold plated silver elements, are very heavy because it's solid silver, and then you've got a solid marble there as well. So if you have a look here, it's got the newer Visconti 18 karat gold nib there. It's got a hook safe lock mechanism. It's a power vac filler. It is a single reservoir, so it only holds around about sort of 1.5 milliliters of ink, but it is quite nice. Can you post the cap? Yes, you can. Now, I would warn against it because these caps have a plastic insert, and I have on the red one here actually had that one fail, and I've had to send it back to Visconti for repair. I sent it back in 21. It was away for, I want to say, 3-4 months, but I managed to get it back, and it is fully repaired, which is great. Visconti can do some great warranty repairs. So this is, again, the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico, but this is in the red marble. I honestly think I got a really good pattern here. I got a lot of white vein going around that. Again, solid silver parts with marble. But I did have this cap. The inner liner there, it's very hard to see, but there are little black stoppers there. And over time, against the metal hook safe lock, they wear out. And especially if you were to force the cap on. So you do have to be a little bit careful with these. It does have a number 6 size Visconti nib. That's a medium 23 cap palladium nib, and I do like that a lot. The cap, when it failed, all it would do is it would just keep turning, so it would never actually engage the lock fully. So the cap didn't necessarily just pull off, but it would never lock itself properly. So you do have to be a little bit careful with the Magnifico caps, because that metal on plastic, it's always going to fail at some point. Very much like if you have a metal thread on a pen with a plastic inner thread cap, at some point you will probably find that that metal will bore out that plastic, and I think this is why quite a lot of pen manufacturers, if they do metal threads, they'll do metal threads on both cap and body. The issue there then is, though, that the metal on metal will squeak a lot as well, and a lot of people don't like that. So a lot of time, this is why manufacturers do metal on plastic, but there is a failure point on those. The next pen, I'm really glad I got to pick this up. It wasn't ultra rare when I picked it up. It was fairly rare, I would say, but I picked this up, I think it was in 2018, and really glad that I did, because it is pretty rare now. It's a Visconti Brunelleschi. There were 2 versions of this. One was the first one for the fountain pen network. I forget how many limited editions that was. I want to say that maybe it was 50 or 100. I don't think it was much more than that. And then there was a second version, which was the general release, which wasn't a limited edition. And I have to say, I do like this pen. It is made of terracotta, and if you know terracotta, it's what a lot of roof tiles are made of. It can be quite brittle if dropped, but normally it's fairly good. Now this does have a bit of a rubbery texture to it, so I think they do coat this terracotta in some kind of, I don't want to say resin, but maybe I think, if I think about the Homo sapien lava, they actually take ground down lava and mix it with resin. It doesn't quite have that same feel. This does feel a little bit more rubbery, but I suspect it's very similar. So they harden that terracotta a little bit more. A great pen. It's a power vac. It's a single reservoir, hook safe lock mechanism, and you do have a 23 cat palladium medium nib there. You can get the edges here staining. This is what butts up to the inner cap liner. I have used previously Wharton Klinger Alt Bordeaux. It's an ink that I find flows really well in this. I've started to use Diamine Terracotta, because this is effectively terracotta. So I am changing the ink there, but do have to be a little bit careful, especially if you're inking it up with a dark black ink or a purple ink, that the terracotta may stain over time. I think very much like the newer Visconti Homo sapiens, it's I can never remember the name. It's the white one. That, although it's got a anti-staining coat on it, it can still stain around the base of the section. So again, something you have to be a little bit wary of sometimes if you're using your pens like I do. The next pen here is it's an older Visconti, and it's a Millionaire. And I have to say that these normally sell for $1,000 or more in dollars. I managed to pick this up for probably, I think it was about half that. So for me at the time, it was a really, really good a deal. And it comes with a 23 cat palladium medium nib. Now, this isn't a power vac, and it's not a cartridge converter. It is an old style push-pull piston there. So press to empty, full to fill. Pull to fill, I should say. So I am going to ink that one up this week. And can you hear this? Hold on. That is essentially metal on metal threads. So you do have to be a little bit careful there, that you do hear squeaking. And it's one reason why a lot of manufacturers don't actually do metal on metal threads. Now, the last pen here is a really lovely overlay. Strange enough, I wasn't that enamored when I bought it, and I guess I was into overlays, but I just wasn't into this pen as much. Now, this pen, I have had people make me an offer on this pen a number of times. It does have pitting on the cap. That celluloid does react with the clip there. So that is a downside, unfortunately, with this pen. It's a beautiful pen. I love this overlay, this beautiful sterling silver overlay, which I have polished up. It has an older, longer, sort of almost like conical nib there from Visconti, and it's a older 18 karat gold nib from Visconti. It's more of a rounded nib compared to their current nibs. I can post a cap on this as well. It does post quite nicely. It is a power vac mechanism. It's a single reservoir, but that is also a nice pen. So I have that inked up as well. I still like it. I just don't write with it as much as I should do. I decided I should get it out and start writing with it more. So that's my currently inked pens for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen here is the London Pen Company Nona 14. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And still using a green ink in this, and I am still loving this. I think if I put a brown ink maybe in it, a coppery ink, it would probably write a little bit more drier. I could make it write wetter. But I do think that this nib and ink combination works well. So this is the London Pen Company Nona 14 in Bohemian Twighlight. And it is a broad, it's a Bock steel nib. And people ask me, do you really prefer a steel or a gold nib? It doesn't really bother me. If I want a little bit of a bounce, a little bit more of a luxurious feel, I'll probably go for a golden nib or a palladium nib because it has a little bit more bounce normally to them. But I actually do like a steel nib as well. But they tend to be a little bit more on the rigid side. The ink in here today is Kaen Dash. And it's vibrant green. But for me, that is a very nice colour. Maybe I should put a tealish turquoise in there. Maybe I'll do that when I re-ink that pen up, if I remember. The next pen is the Ryan Krusac Legends 16 in the Dragon Slayer. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a narrower nib than the broad nib there on the previous pen. So this is the Ryan Krusac Legend 16 in the Dragon Slayer. And it is a medium, and it is a still Yovo nib. And the ink in here is Noodler's. And I want to call it Southwest Sunset, but I do know it as Apache Sunset. And honestly, that's what it says on the bottle. I know Noodlers have now changed it to Southwest Sunset, but I think it's forever going to be known as Apache Sunset. The next pen is the Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I do like this pen a lot, and I always dedicate this pen, like I do a lot of pens, but I dedicate this pen to Diamine Earl Grey. So this is the Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove, and it is a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib, and then the ink in here, as I said, is Diamine Earl Grey. But that is a really beautiful pen and a beautiful writing nib. The next pen here is the Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in Shiny Circles. So we'll do an ink swatch. But this, again, is quite a nice writing nib. It's the Montegrappa Extra, well, actually, sorry, Bartolomeo Ferracina, and it's the Shiny Circles, and it is a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib, and then the ink in here also is Diamine Earl Grey, which is a lovely, lovely coloured ink there. The next pen here is the Classic Pens LB5 in the Kauseki. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this, again, is a lovely writing nib. So this is the Classic Pens LB5 in the, I said Kauseki, didn't I? It's Kaen. And it is a medium 21 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. But that is a beautiful colour ink, and an ink that I do like a lot. The next pen here is the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli. So we'll do another ink swatch here. And I absolutely love this colour of ink. I was on the search for this colour of ink. So this is the Visconti, and it's the Medici Il Magnifico. And this is the Lapis Lazuli in a medium, and it is an 18 karat gold nib from Visconti. It's the new nib, and the ink in here is Pilot Iwashizuku, and it's a beautiful ink called Aji Sei. The next pen inked up here is another Visconti, and this is the Medici Il Magnifico in the red marble. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And you can see here, this is actually quite a nice red ink. It's actually not red, it's more of a pink, but I typically ink this up a lot in this pen. So this is the Visconti Il Magnifico. It's the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico. and this is in the red marble. And it has a medium, and this one actually has a 23 cat palladium nib from Visconti. The ink in here is Pelican, and it's Adel Sign, and it's Star Ruby, which was an ink of the year from Pelican. The next pen inked up this week is the Visconti. This is the Brunelleschi. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And again, you can see this actually writes quite wet as well. This is a nice writing pen. Typically, sometimes I have a darker ink inked up. So this is the Visconti Brunelleschi. And it is a medium, and it's the older 23 cat palladium nibs from Visconti. And then the ink this time is diamine, and it's terracotta. So this is an ink that I have switched to. I used to use Rohr & Klinger Alt Bordeaux. The next pen is the Visconti Millionaire. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a pen that I also have the Rohr & Klinger Alt Bordeaux inked up in. This is a very, very, very wet writing nib, and I do like it a lot. So this is the Visconti, and it is a Millionaire, and you don't have to be a millionaire to own one, although they're not exactly cheap. So this is a medium, and it is a 23 cat palladium nib from Visconti. And then, as I mentioned, the ink here is Rohr & Klinger. I'm going to abbreviate that. And it is Alt or Old Bordeaux. So it's a Bordeaux colour. I do typically find it's a lot darker though. And then the last pen here is the Visconti Uffizi. So I think let's do an ink sample or an ink swatch here. And you can see that that also writes quite wet as well. It's a really nice green ink. So this is the Visconti Uffizi, and this has a broad 18 cat gold nib. It's one of the really older 18 cat gold nibs from Visconti. And then the ink in here is Kaen Dash, or Kaen Dash, and it's vibrant green, which I always think is a little bit strange because I don't actually see this as a vibrant green myself. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have a London Pen Company, and this is the Nona 14 in the Bohemian Twighlight in a broad steel nib, inked up with Kaen Dash, vibrant green. We have a Ryan Krusac Legend 16 in the Dragon Slayer in a medium steel nib, inked up with Nuda's Apache Sunset. We have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove in a medium 18 cat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina Shiny Circles in a medium 18 cat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Classic Pens LB5 Kaen in a medium 21 cat gold nib, inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli in a medium 18 cat gold nib, inked up with Pilot Iroshizuku Aji Sei. We have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the red marble in a medium 23 cat palladium nib, inked up with Pelican Edelstein Star Ruby. We have a Visconti Brunelleschi in a medium 23 cat palladium nib, inked up with Diamine Terracotta. And we have a Visconti Millionaire in a medium 23 cat palladium nib, inked up with Rohr & Klinger Alt Bordeaux. And then finally we have a Visconti Uffizi in a broad 18 cat gold nib, inked up with Kaen Dash Vibrant Green. So there you have it. That's my currently ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.